Why does Russia own Kaliningrad? Kaliningrad, which was originally called Königsberg and belonged to Germany, is a Russian exclave on the Baltic Sea. Both the district and the capital are called Kaliningrad. Kaliningrad is the westernmost region of Russia, has a population of just under 1 million people, and with an area of 15,000 square kilometers is somewhat smaller than Schleswig-Holstein. It is separated from Russia by about 300 kilometers and borders Lithuania, Poland and the Baltic Sea. But why does Russia own this piece of land, and why did it originally belong to Germany? The city was founded as early as 1255 as Königsberg by the Teutonic Order. A brief reminder, the Teutonic Order was already founded during the Crusades and later settled in the Baltic Sea region, especially in the Baltic states, where it founded its own Teutonic Order state. At that time, a castle was built in honor of the King of Bohemia, and a city eventually grew around the fortress. Königsberg also joined the Hanseatic League in 1340, the largest economic association in the Baltic region at that time. And in the middle of the 15th century, it even became the residence of the Grand Master of the Teutonic Order, and thus virtually the capital. Finally, in 1525, the Duchy of Prussia was created from a part of the Teutonic Order, of which Königsberg also became the capital. Due to the rise of Prussia in the following centuries, Königsberg also gained more and more importance, which is why the city grew more and more and had many buildings and universities built. One of the most famous professors of the city was philosopher Immanuel Kant. He spent his whole life in the city, taught there and died there in 1804. When the German Empire was finally founded under the leadership of Prussia, Königsberg became the most important naval base in the Baltic Sea along with Kiel. Although the city successfully defended itself against Russia during World War I, the Treaty of Versailles separated the territory of East Prussia from the German Empire. In addition to the burdens of the war, this drastically worsened the economic situation of the region. Even East Prussia was not spared from anti-Semitic terror after Hitler's seizure of power, and the number of Jews had already halved by 1939. During the Second World War, Königsberg was initially spared from attacks for a long time, but in the later stages it was hit particularly hard. The city was eventually almost completely destroyed by British air raids and the Red Army siege. After the end of the war, the Potsdam Agreement stipulated that the region of East Prussia must be completely ceded by Germany, and it was eventually divided between Poland and the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union secured the northern part with the capital Königsberg, which was then renamed Kaliningrad. The entire German population was then almost completely expelled and settled in West and East Germany, and until 1991, this city also remained closed to foreigners. In return, hundreds of thousands of settlers from the Soviet Union were recruited to settle there and rebuild the city. Only with the collapse of the Soviet Union, the city was opened again. Later it became known that Kaliningrad had also played a role in German reunification and that the Soviet side felt open to negotiations. However, the offer was rejected by Germany, since the reunification with East Germany was already a huge task, and they did not want to further anger France and Great Britain, who already feared a strong increase in power through the reunification. It must also be said that Kaliningrad changed a lot under Soviet rule and, moreover, ethnically only a tiny part of the population, about 0.4%, is German. Meanwhile, 70.4% of the population is Russian, 4% is Ukrainian and 3.8% is Belarusian. With Poland and Lithuania both having joined the EU and NATO, the area is completely surrounded by these organizations. A special economic zone was established in the region by Russia in the 1990s, which was supposed to bring an economic boom similar to Hong Kong in China. However, the calculation did not work out and investment continued to fail to materialize. Militarily, however, it regained importance, especially under Putin, due to its strategic location. It is the only Russian port that is ice-free year-round and therefore hosts the Baltic Fleet of Russia in the port of Baltisk. In addition, large-scale military exercises and even nuclear weapons tests are repeatedly conducted there. How do you see Kaliningrad and its future development? Feel free to write it in the comments.